Welcome back to I Pick Passion, the podcast where we dive into what it truly means to pursue your purpose and live with passion. Today, I'm thrilled to have a guest who embodies hustle, creativity, and determination. He's a comedian, actor, Nike ambassador, and the ultimate multi-hyphenate, balancing stand-up comedy, entrepreneurial ventures, and giving back to his community. Lawrence Killebrew has shared the stage with comedy legends like Kevin Hart, Katt, and Bill Burr, and his comedy albums have topped the charts. But beyond the laughs, Lawrence has built an inspiring brand from comedy hustle to creating candles, coloring books, and even candy bars. We're definitely going to get into that. We'll explore his journey from open mics to national tours, the lessons he's learned from working with icons, and how his passion fuels every part of his life, on and off the stage. Get ready for a conversation full of humor, inspiration, and insight. Let's welcome Lawrence Killebrew to the show. All right. So, Lawrence, I usually like to start off the show with a icebreaker. Okay, so it's a game called Hella Awkward that I'll just pull a couple random cards, and it's 4 categories. You tell me which category you want. I'll ask you the question, and you give me the answer. Okay?
I'll let you choose.
You want me to choose? You sure?
Yeah, I don't get awkward.
Because I'm gonna go.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go for the spicy one. I'm gonna go for the spicy one.
Go, do your thing, shorty. All right, go ahead, do your thing, baby. Go for what you
All
know.
right, so we're going for sex then.
Here we go. Let's get it.
All right. So does sex ever feel like a burden?
Yes, a lot of times, especially for black men.
Really?
Yes, it's extremely
wow.
burdening. Yes, because we have to.
Why is that?
Because it's a lot. We have to perform, and if we don't, we get ridiculed. So it's like more of a task now at this point, especially with new people, and even with people that you've been with for a while. You have to perform for them to stay. Sometimes you can't have off nights as a man. I think women can have off nights. It is more acceptable from a man than it is if a man has an off night. So that's why I would think it could be a burden to some men who have challenges performing.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, huh. Oh, wow. That sounds so bad. That for the men, I wonder if other men actually feel that way. Like I would think, I never would have thought it would have been a burden. I never would have thought that.
No, man,
that's why I was curious.
Don't get me wrong. Like there's some guys that can knock it out the park, but there's some guys who not. It's your off night. So you as a man don't know if it's going to be your off night. So it's like, all right, let me get ready. Let me prepare, especially with new people. Oh, with someone you've been with for a while who's already experienced you and know what you can do, then the kind of pressure like it's not there as much. But someone new that you really like, that you're really into, and you want to perform on that first time, it could be very nerve-wracking. It could be very much of a burden because you could feel like, oh, I did perform, and that's sense of the case.
Women have those burdens too, though. I think women think we're in our head more than I think men think. Like we be in our head too, especially like you said, if it's somebody new, you want to make sure that you're at your best as well as a woman.
Listen, and that's the problem. Y'all need to get out your head because most guys don't even care. Most guys don't even care. You could be you don't know how horrible you can be, and a man is still trying to do something. I'll give you a second chance. Like you could be horrible, and most men still give you a second chance.
Maybe so. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. We could go on about that, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting question. I was like, let me ask him that.
No problem.
Yeah, all of them were good though, but that one was really good.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go back and really like talk about your comedy, and all of that, how are you doing? Because 2025 so far has started off it came in pretty, like hot. You know what I mean? Like it's been. But how are you feeling?
I'm great, man. To be honest with you, I've adapted a mentality of just rolling with the punches. So like when you said 2025 came in rough, I don't really think it did. I mean, if you were referring to the Trump thing or TikTok or whatever, a lot of those things, I think people put too much emphasis on them and like, oh God, the world is over. Like for Trump, for example, he was already in office. We made it we got through it then. So it's not like you can't get through it again. So I don't understand why we're so up in arms. Like, he was in office the first time and we were able to get through it. So why would you not think you can do it again? And TikTok, everybody's all up in arms with that. It's a social media app. Now, outside of people who make a living from it, I don't see why people are upset. Just find something else. There's going to be something else in a couple of months that people are going to be addicted to. So I've kind of adapted a mentality of, I don't put too much pressure on myself. I don't get too excited about anything, and I don't let two things get me down too much. I just try to stay with an even level on both sides, so I don't feel any type of way. So no, I don't really think it came in hot to me. It was just another day to me, to be honest with you.
Look, I love that. And I also have, adapted I'm just going to handle what I can, and the rest I'm gonna let it go. But like if I can't control it, why am I worried about it?
Exactly.
Some days I'd be like, I have to remind myself of that. And then other days I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna roll it off my shoulders. But TikTok, yeah, but I'm not really worried about TikTok. You know what hurt me the most was CapCut, that editing software that went down with it, because I used
Oh,
Cap. That hurt me.
is
That hurt me. But
CapCut is not available no more?
it's back up today. It just came back up, I think, this. But it
Okay,
went
cool.
down too. I was like, oh, come on. So, yeah, that hurt. But other than that, but no, it's just so many more things. And with the fires, I was in LA that
Oh
week with the
yeah.
fires. You know what I mean? I was there with the start of that day when it started. I was there that week. And
I had
so it
just
was just crazy.
left. Like, I was doing shows in LA, and then I think I left, and then 2 days they happened. So I had just got out of there. What happened? So yeah, that was a big heavy. That's a heavy thing. Yeah, but I'm not in
Yeah,
LA. Thank God.
yeah.
I'm cool with the
Me
cold.
either. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel you. I was there,
Oh,
but I don't live there either. But I still felt the impact just as much. I think it's because I was there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was crazy.
okay.
All right, so now let's go ahead and take it back. Who were you as a kid? Who was young Lawrence? Were you always the funny guy growing up? Or did comedy
Mm.
come later?
Yeah, I was never the funny guy. And in school, I was never the funny guy. I'm really not the funny guy now. I've honed a talent. Like, I'm not like, if you see me, people who know me, like, I'm not the guy in the room who's cracking jokes on everybody. I'm actually very, very quiet, very reserved, very, very chill. And so comedy was not I wasn't the class clown. I was always a smart ass. I will say that. I was always a smart ass. I always had like a snappy reply. I always had like a retort for everything. I question everything. Teachers, parents, I question everything. Like, you're not just going to tell me something and I'm going to go along with it. So I was always that person. But I was never really like funny, just having everybody in stitches every time and people saying you should be a comedian. That was never me. I was more reserved, very, very chill as a kid, a child, working all the time. Always had a job when I was young. Always wanted to put some money in my pocket. And that was really it, man. I wish I had that story when when people make it, they be like, yeah, so it was rough for me growing. It wasn't rough for me. My pop was good. He treated. I
Wow,
had a good life. I had a great life as a
that's
child.
amazing.
You know.
That's
So
amazing.
I wish I could say it, because I
Yeah,
always hear when people would have interviews and they be like, yeah, I came from the gutter. Like, no, I didn't come from the gutter. I had a great house, grass. I was doing it big. So, but
that's
yeah, for me,
amazing.
my childhood was pretty good, man. I didn't have too many problems. Basically got what I wanted from my father. Um, yeah, I had a good life, man. Very, very chill,
That's
very, very chill person.
that's cool. So, what's a memory from your early days that makes you laugh when you think about it now?
I set the bottom of my bed on fire with me underneath it.
Oh,
So so I don't know if you remember back in the day. Well, I don't even think, do they still have box springs now? Do you remember
I don't
box
think they do
springs?
anymore.
So
No,
back
they don't
yeah,
have
so
them anymore.
back in the day they used to have box springs, and under our bed
Mm-hmm.
it was like a little cloth under the bed. And I remember me and my cousin were underneath the bed and I was lighting it on fire. I didn't set it on fire, but it was like a bunch of burn holes underneath, and
Mm-hmm.
then And I was just like, she was under there laughing with me and shit, like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I'm like, you about to die. What you mean this is amazing?
So you
But
was a daredevil. You was a
definitely
daredevil.
was. I definitely did a lot of shit I wasn't supposed to do. Can I cuss? I'm sorry. Am I allowed to?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you
All
can
right.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a lot
That's so
of
funny.
shit
And
that
I
I
do
wasn't
remember box
supposed to do.
springs. I don't know how old you think I am, but I do remember box springs for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. I got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, what inspired you to step onto a stage for the first time, and what was that experience like the first time you did?
Well, it was a couple of things that inspired me to do comedy. It all started with church. It all started with church.
Okay.
A friend of mine, I tell this story a lot. A friend of mine invited me to his church. I forgot, it was on Delaware Avenue in Philadelphia. He invited me to his church, and it was a younger pastor. And I was just in awe about how he had everybody's attention. Like, it just, I don't know what it was, but I don't know if it was just that day, but he just had the entire room under control with his word. And for some reason, it just sparked something in me. I don't know what it was, but it just sparked something. I was just amazed at how all these people were paying attention to him. He had everybody in the palm of his hand. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. But I knew I couldn't be no preacher because I cussed too much. And I definitely couldn't be that. So that's where it like started. Like, I wanted to do something where my words affected someone else that I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just knew I wanted to speak to people and affect them in a way that can make them feel good, make them feel bad, bring them out of something bad, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that just, like, it resonated with me for so many years. And then I was a big fan of Def Jam. I don't know if you, Def Comedy Jam? And Def Jam used to come on. I could never watch it on when it come on Friday at midnight. I never could watch it on Fridays at midnight. But New Year's Eve, every year they would play the entire season from midnight to like 6 in the morning. And I would watch the entire season. And for some reason, a lot of the things that they were talking about, I have thought, had those thought processes in my mind. So then that's when I was starting to think that, damn, maybe I can be a comedian because I'm thinking the same thing that these people are saying. So once again, then now that ball started to roll as in, damn, maybe I can do comedy. And I never forget this shit. Then after I was on the fence, should I try it? Should I not? And then I went to All-Star game in LA. I forgot what year it was. It was the year that LeBron James was a rookie. I went to the All-Star game, and on the way home, I'm in the airport, and I see a comedian that I knew from Def Comedy Jam. I saw him. I said, oh, man, I recognize you from blah, 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 blah. He's like, yeah, I'm a comedian. And he got me to buy one of his DVDs. How long ago this was? He got me to buy a DVD, and I remember having a DVD player for my flight. Because I was going from LA to Philadelphia, so I had a long flight. So I brought some DVDs. I brought a DVD player, and I watched his DVD on the way on the flight, and that shit was trash. It was horrible. Like, I was so pissed off that I paid $10 for this DVD. I never forget. It's called Comedy in the Hood. I was so pissed off. So I never say his name, but I always say the name in the DVD. It's called Comedy in the Hood. I was so upset, and then I made it my duty to start doing comedy and sell someone a DVD so I could make my $10 back. And that was it. And then right after that, I started going to comedy clubs. And my first time on stage was completely horrible. It was completely horrible. I totally forgot everything that I had to say. I never figured this is exactly how my set went. The guy called me to the stage. I went on stage and I said, hey, what's up, y'all? All right, man, I forgot what I was going to say. Good night. And I walked off. And that was it.
Wow.
That was my first time on stage at the legendary Laugh House in Philadelphia.
So after that, and knowing how did you get yourself back on that stage after that experience? Like, how did you do that?
Well, to be honest with you, it's kind of how I think about life. Like, it wasn't their fault that I didn't do well. It was my fault. So I wasn't necessarily scared of them. It's because I didn't come through with what I wanted to. I wasn't prepared. So now I look like if I'm prepared for everything, the crowd doesn't matter. So my mission after that was to be prepared, remember what I'm going to say, just be ready. So after that, that's why it was easy for me to get back up there, because whenever something goes wrong with me or in my life per se, I always try to look at what did I do that didn't go right? What was my reason for this not working? And if I can correct that, then it's no reason to blame anybody else. So I looked at it
Absolutely.
like I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. So if I am prepared, can I win? And ever since then, I've been prepared and I've been winning ever since.
Love it. Accountability. I love that. Okay. All right. So you're not just a comedian. You're also a true hustler. I have to say, you are a hustler. And I will tell you why, because I'm gonna get to that in a minute. The reason why I'm
Mm,
really about to, but between your candles, you got the coloring book, you got the candy bars, you created a whole brand, right? So what
yes.
inspired you to branch out into these unique ventures? What inspired all of these things?
Each one has a specific reason why I started it. So I'll start with the candles. I'll start with the candles. The candles came about, and I was in a relationship a while back, and I noticed that the woman that I was in a relationship with, every sale or Bath and Body Works has like a yearly sale of candles, and
Mm-hmm.
I vividly remember her coming home literally every time with like 200 fucking candles, right? And I'm like, yo, how much money are you spending on candles? Because you don't burn all of these goddamn candles. They're just sitting around the house. So she was like, well, she's like, I like candles. I like candles. I was like, you know what? I probably can make a candle. She was like, no, you can't. I said, I bet you I can make a candle. So I made it. This is a true story. I looked it up, how to make a candle. I made a candle and I burned it. And she said, you're actually good. This smells really good. So I
Wow.
remember making another one just to see if I can do it again. And I lit the candle in the house. And her girlfriends that came over, I don't know what it was for. They was like, what is that candle? Like, where did you get that from? And then she was like, he made it. They was like, you lying. I was like, yeah, I did make it. He's like, can you make another one? So I made another one. And then her girlfriend hit me, but hey, can you make another one? Like, it got to be like, they kept asking, can I make more and more candles because they like the smell of the ones that I made. So I've been doing that
Wow.
for a while. I was doing that for a while, not like for a business or whatever. And then the pandemic happened. So when the pandemic happened, I was in the mindset of what can I do now that can help me make money without me being on stage. I was like, shit, I make candles. I've been making candles all these years. So then I just started, I said, let me see if I can make a candle line. And then I just, things, ball started rolling, blah, blah, blah. I came up with a name. And nobody knows this, but my first couple of candles were named after comedians. So it was like the Richard Pryor candle, the Robin Harris candle. But then someone told me that, I probably will get in trouble if their entities saw that you named a candle after them. So then I just changed it and started making candles like that. It had a whole lot.
That's so cool. And the reason why I said that I know you're a hustler, right? So, because I have to ask this, what is the story behind the candy bars and the crunch wrap inspiration? Because I saw you on Zoom with the homies, and I was
Yeah.
like, gotta get
Okay.
him to talk about this.
Okay. So what I can't do is take completely credit for the candy bar. Okay. I'll tell you the story. All right. So it happened. Actually, I'm not the one who came up with the idea. It was a comedian friend of mine named Derek Gaines. When we
Mm,
went, when we first started, me and him got accepted into a, um, a festival called Laugh-A-Palooza. We got accepted into this festival called Laugh-A-Palooza. His mother said, hey, I want y'all, not instead of giving out gift cards, I'm gonna make y'all some candy bars and I'm gonna wrap a picture around it and give it to you and you give it out to people because they'll remember for the candy bar. So
mm.
she gave us a bunch of candy bars. His mother was the one who created it, and I started handing out candy bars. So years later, I'm thinking to myself, I'm out on the road. I got to find out some merchandise. I was like, let me just do the same thing. So I created the candy bar called the Killebrew Crunch. Now, originally, when I was giving them out, I was buying them from a company, and the company would give me the candy bar in a clear plastic wrapper. No ingredients, no anything. Because they're
Mm.
not supposed to be sold, they were supposed to be given away as party favors at birthday parties. But
Mm.
I'm like, fuck it. I'm just, I'm a seller.
Right?
So when I was giving them to people, when they would unwrap it, they would ask a bunch of questions. What's in this? What's the ingredient? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. Just eat the goddamn candy bar. Like, what? Why are you asking me? I don't know if it's gluten free. Just eat shit. What the fuck? So to avoid those questions, I decided to go to Costco's and buy a box of Crunch bars and rewrap them with my wrapper. And that's how I did it.
I respect the hustle, brother. I respect the hustle. I'm not mad at you. I just had to ask because they was going in on you.
I know.
I was watching.
I didn't like that. I ain't like that at all, man. They
But
judging me.
it's all love and fun. No, it's all in fun.
Yeah. I don't be complaining when I sell them. I don't complain when I sell them.
Right. Look, I'm not mad. So, what lessons have you learned from wearing so many hats and balancing all the creative ventures with comedy, along with comedy? How do you balance everything? Or what lessons have you learned?
Well, I haven't mastered balancing everything because I have a tendency to try to do everything myself. So the lesson that I've learned is you can go places by yourself, but you can go further with a team. And that has been my most difficult part to cope with is building a team because people, it's hard to build a team when you're not per se. I'll just be blunt with it. If you're not famous already, when you're at the beginning stages and you have a vision, it's hard to build because other people can't see your vision. It's easy to bring people on once the vision is already complete. It's like, all right, cool. I know what I'm a part of. But when you're trying to tell somebody what you're trying to do and trying to convince them to join your team and help you build, is very difficult. So for me, I think that has been the hardest lesson to learn is to not get upset when people are not ready to join what it is that you got going on because they don't understand it. So I'm like, yo, I'm doing something. Like, why would you not want to be a part of it? Or it's always a price on top of it. And it's just hard to build when you don't have a team and you're not in a place where they can see the benefits of it when there's no benefit right now. If that makes any sense.
Of course it does. I 100% get that.
So
All right,
for me, I was just saying, so for me, those are probably my hardest lessons that I've learned in both businesses and, my ventures and in comedy as well.
Okay. I love that. All right, so talk about the comedy hustle. I love that because I feel like it's a cool behind the scenes type of, what's happening before the stage. What's the biggest thing that people don't realize about the grind of stand-up?
That is, it's a lot of alone time people don't think about. Like people, if you just think about it, I'm on stage for about half hour to an hour, and then it's about another hour of me dealing with people or talking to people after the show, and then after that, it's just me. So just think about that. Like you get up for work, people who have regular jobs, they get up at work, they drive to work, they're at work for about 8 hours. Whether you're dealing with people or not, you come home, dealing with people on the road, and you drive back, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, like you're conversing with people throughout your day. And for me, I can get up in the morning in my hotel room at 8 o'clock. I don't see nobody unless I go outside until showtime. And for one thing a lot of people don't know is comedians, when they're on the road, they're not trying to do anything because they don't want to spend money that they're making on the road. So for the most part of us, we're in our hotel room, we're doing something that doesn't cost money. So we're not really interacting with a lot of people. So for me, it's like, people think that, oh, it's all fun and games. You get to travel. Yeah, I get to travel, but I got to wake up at 4:30 to catch the 6 a.m. flight every single weekend. I got to pack clothes every single weekend. I have to come back home. I got to be away from my family. So it's just a lot of things that goes into comedy that people don't think about. All they see is us on stage and dressing nice and making people laugh. And we have many fans and all that. But they don't realize that outside of that, it's very, I don't want to say lonely. I'm just saying it's a lot of time by yourself. A lot of time to think. So that's why we come up with this funny shit, because we're just thinking a lot by ourselves.
Yeah, so that's what I was getting ready to say. That probably gives you a lot of time to just, that's how you come up with the material, is in that time when you can just be by yourself and in those moments. So that's cool.
And that goes back to my statement before about the team. I'll use Kevin Hart as an example. Like people see Kevin Hart and they see he has a whole team, he has friends, they're all on the road with him, blah, blah. They don't realize years ago when it was just him by himself. Just him by himself. So yeah, like right now, it's just me. It's a lot of people. It's Therese. I'm just naming. Are you from Philadelphia? I didn't admit that.
No, I'm from VA.
Okay, VA. So I know Bodacious. He's a comedian from VA. Do you know him?
Bodacious?
Yeah, he's from Virginia.
I don't think I do know him.
I'm just saying, outside of famous comedians that have entourages and stuff, there's a lot of comedians out here by themselves. just traveling the world by themselves every single day.
Yeah. Wow. Bodacious. That got me thinking. I'm gonna have to look him up.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's from I think he's from Virginia Beach, that VA.
Okay. So I'm from Richmond, VA. Yeah.
Okay. I was just there
Hmm.
actually. I was just there in Richmond.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago at the Funny Bone.
What? Okay. Did I miss that announcement?
I don't know. I'll invite
I
you
don't
next time
know.
we're there.
Okay, yeah, definitely do that. All right. It's funny you mentioned Kevin Hart because I know you toured and performed with some comedy icons like Kevin Hart, Cat Williams, and Bill Burr. What's the most valuable lesson you've learned from working with them?
Well, from different people, it's different things. From Kev, I've learned that anything is possible. And when I say that is because he's one of the reasons I started comedy. Because what a lot of people don't know, me and Kevin went to the same high school. Me and Kev lived directly around the corner from each other. Me and
Wow.
Kev played basketball together. Me and Kev rode the same school bus to school together. So what I mean by anything is possible is because me and this guy came from the same neighborhood, went to the same school, did the same things as a child, basically had the same childhood, and he's able to reach the stature that he has reached. So it's no stopping me from doing the same exact thing because there's nothing in his life different that he started with that gives him advantage over me besides he's working harder than me. So from him, it's like seeing him reach the levels that he's reached gives me sense that it's possible because he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything different than I'm doing. He get up the same day, put his pants on the same way, like the same exact thing. Only thing is he's working extremely and way more harder than I'm working. So I have to work harder to get to that space that I want to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Love that. All right. So, do you have a favorite story from your time on the road with any of these legends? Anything you can, any favorite story?
Let me think. Do I have a I don't know if I can get that dirty with it. I do have one, but am I allowed to
I
get
mean,
dirty?
it's okay by me if it's okay by you. You can
Yeah, I
see,
don't mind.
talk freely.
Okay. So it was
Okay.
the first time I was gonna I guess you can say get some rose cooch, I guess.
Okay.
It was the first
That's
time I had
that's
a
interesting name for it. Yeah. Road.
road cooch. Road
Got
cooch. That's what we call it. So it happened in North Carolina. It happened in North Carolina. Actually, it didn't happen. The attempt was there. So it was
Okay.
in North Carolina. A couple of my friends, we had got booked to do a show in North Carolina. It was one of those shows where it's a big time drug dealer who moved from one city to another city and used his money to start a business. And he opened up like a Hooters in North Carolina. So basically, it was a setup. It wasn't called Hooters, but it was the same idea. Having a bunch of women dressed up as referees with big titties out, little fat ass, and serve people food. He decided to throw a comedy show and like invite book people from where he, from different cities. So I was one of those comedians. So we get there and it's like 11 people in the audience, like 11 people. And everybody on stage is bombing bad. Like I'm talking about everybody is just taking it in the face. And I'm one of them. I was really taking it in the face. And what happened was after the show, everybody, usually comedians try to talk to the people who was in the crowd, but the fact that nobody did well, nobody wants to talk to us. Nobody was doing well at all. So my outside thinking self decided to why don't I talk to the people the worker? They look good. So I started talking to this young lady who was extremely attractive. And I was just spitting my game. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw a Hail Mary. And I said, hey, man, I'm staying in such and such hotel. Here's my room key. I'm room 111. Come check me out. Like, that was my game. That was the game I gave her. And then
Wow.
I went back and told my friends, they was like, nigga, you stupid. She gonna rob you, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't know how this goes on the road. This is my first time. So I'm like, all right, y'all probably right. Y'all probably right. Go back to my room. I'm chilling. I hear a knock at the door. Boop, 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 boop. Who the fuck is this? I open the door. It's her. But the problem was she didn't, she came right from work. So she came in my room smelling like chicken fingers, and she had the black greasy sneakers on, and I'm like, bitch, you stink. Like, why did you go home and wash or something? And it was a little bit of a turn off, and we got to arguing, and then she left.
Wow.
So that's a true story.
That's crazy. Y'all got to argue.
We did. And she tried to defend it like it was okay. Like I was just going to do it. I was like, I'm not doing this with you and you smell like work. Like you smell like 8 hours. That's
Yeah,
what you smell like.
you definitely should have got the work off of her for sure. Yeah, I agree. So anyway, all right. So comedy, we all know comedy is a tough industry, right? So what's been your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Well, my biggest challenge is also my greatest accomplishment as well. They're both
Okay.
one and the same. Is the fact that I'm still doing it for this long. I actually thought about this the other day. Like I've been doing comedy for 20 years. I've been doing this for half my life.
That's
And it
crazy.
literally, probably even more than half my life because those first couple of years, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So literally more than half my life, I've been doing the same thing. So to have the grit to just keep doing it regardless of what is going on, I've had a lot of ups and downs, like literally, and this is a very true statement. I've been doing comedy over 20 years, and literally the last 3 have been the most profitable. So for 17 years, I wasn't making no money. I just started making like, a return on what I'm doing. Before it was all I make it, gotta spend it, make it, gotta spend it. I gotta make it, pay rent, you know what I mean? It was all that. Just recently, these past 3 years, I have been making like, I've been seeing the fruits of all the work I've been putting in. So the fact that I've been able to decide to do something 20 years ago and then never stop, never quit, never get down about it. I'm not gonna say get down about it, but never let the downtime say I'm not gonna do it anymore. So for 20 straight years, I've been doing it, but regardless of people quit, regardless of people that I know stop doing it, I've been able to keep going for 20 years. So it's been hard, but also I look at it as the greatest thing because I never said I'm gonna quit or I'm gonna do something different. I had plenty of times to go out there and have a job be my priority. I haven't done it. Like literally, I have never. How can I put this? I made a decision. I remember a guy named Marlon Randolph. I never forget this. I was working at Foot Locker, and he had kept calling me every Saturday to do shows. And I kept saying, "Hey man, I'm at work. I can't do it." He was like, "Look, bro, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I'm telling you now, I'm going to stop calling you because every time I call you, you at work." So he's like, "Yo, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but you got to make a decision. Which is going to be your priority, your job or comedy?" And ever since that day, I've never put anything in front of comedy. I've quit jobs. I've got fired from jobs, all because I told myself I will never put anything else in front of what I'm doing. So if I had a show and I had to work, I wasn't going to work. If whatever it was, comedy show always came first.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So I was going to say, how do you handle the setbacks or the doubts when those creep into your head? How do you to keep going? How do you handle that?
That's a great question. And it's something that I thought about early on. A lot of people's downfalls is the things that I put this. A lot of people's downfalls are everyday life situations. And what I mean by that is when I first started, I wanted to eliminate anything in my path that could cause me to want to not do this. And this takes a lot of discipline, what I'm about to tell you. So what I've noticed were some downfalls for a lot of my peers were one of 4 things: alcohol, drugs, and children. Those 4 things were always a downfall. What I mean by relationships, it was guys be on child support, can't get a bank account. They have to decide between going on the road and their woman. Their woman is upset that, they're on the road all the time or they're devoting time towards comedy. Alcohol. People would drink up their check at shows. I see comedians get paid $1,000 and then sit at the bar and buy everybody drinks and spend 500 of it at the bar. Never drank a day in my life. But I saw these things. Weed. Every time a comedian comes into a new city, yo, where the weed man at? I want to buy some weed. So they're spending money before they even get there. kids. And I'm not saying at all that kids are a bad thing, but it's very hard to choose between your job and your child. If your child has a basketball game or your child has a birthday, you have to make that decision. I'm going to stay with my child. I'm not going to go to work. So for me, I tried to eliminate those pressures early on. So I'm not saying I've never been in a relationship, but I didn't have kids unless I was married. That means someone's going to understand, hey, this job is first. I never smoked. I never drank. Because all those things were situations that could cause you to, feel down about yourself, or could cause you to basically have to make a decision. And or, you don't have any money because you spent it all drinking, whatever. So for me, I just tried to eliminate anything that was a detriment to me succeeding in comedy. Is it a sacrifice? Absolutely. There's a lot of things that I gave up on. I'm not saying give up on that I haven't experienced because of comedy. Yeah. But I made a decision that this is what I want to do. And that's the part that becomes hard for other people because they're not willing to say to somebody that they care about, you're coming second to this. And you have to say that. And that's what I've been able to do over the time of me doing comedy to avoid a lot of those setbacks. A lot of those people going through divorce, now they're depressed. People, they're depressed about not being able to see their kids. Now, on the flip side of it, I'm not experiencing those, those moments that you have with your son and with your daughter, with your wife, with your girlfriend. I'm not experiencing that because I made a decision that this is what I'm going to do right here. Not to downplay it. I'm just trying to explain how I was able to avoid a lot of those hardships that people have when they're chasing a dream or whatever for me.
I get that. So is that something that you want eventually? Because at some point, is it always going to be comedy first? Or is it that at this point you're, you don't want a family? Or, I'm just.
No, it's cool. I'm not saying I don't want one. I definitely want one. I've had experiences. I've had girlfriends. I've had, have a godson. Excuse me. I've had all these things, but I look at it as I put so much into what I'm doing. Like I said, it's 20 years. So whoever I choose to be with, I'm not saying that they're not going to come first, but they need to understand what I put in to be in a relationship. So if you can't understand that, because you wouldn't want me to necessarily put something over it if you understand how much I put into it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have to have that discussion because we're already on the same wavelength because you get it. Yeah, he really put a lot. So Lawrence, go to your show. I'm not tripping. Or go do this. I'm not tripping. So until I find that, I definitely want it. But that's a hard thing to find because I've noticed I don't like to put, like I said earlier on, I don't like to put my dreams onto somebody else.
Yeah.
Like what I want to do is not what you want to do. So if you don't want to deal with this, I understand.
Yeah, I respect that. I get that. Okay, so you have a nonprofit, Killebrew
Yes, I
Kicks.
do.
It's incredible. What inspired you to start it, and how has it impacted kids and communities that you work with?
I started it, I would say, 6 years ago, and it all just started because I'm a sneakerhead. Like, I have an extremely large sneaker collection. Like, it's very, very big. And when I had moved into my place in Atlanta, I had too many sneakers. Like, I had a room full of them. Like, it was just getting bad. So I said, I'm gonna do like a Facebook giveaway. I was like, hey, any single moms out there who wear a size 9.5, hit me up if you really need it, and I'll just mail them to you. So I did that, but then I noticed that like a lot of the people that I sent it to didn't really need it. Like they were balling out on Facebook and just like they would just wanted it because it was some free shit. And my intention was to give it to somebody who actually needed it. So I had talked to a few people, and then someone said you should go to teachers because teachers see these kids every day, and then they know, so then I was like, all right, cool. So I started going to teachers. Hey, if you know any kids that need sneaks, just let me know. I got some sneaks for them. So then it turned into that. Then it turned into, from that, it was a young lady, a friend of mine, said, hey, you should try to get a sponsorship from it. I said, all right, cool. So then I reached out to a couple of people, asked them, can I get some sponsors? As I started saying words and terms that I didn't understand. If you have a nonprofit, there's certain lingo that they say. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is, bro. I just want to get some sneaks to some kids. Like, So then it turned into I gotta get get the proper paperwork, blah blah, and then it just blossomed from that to me gifting over like 400 students with sneakers, to me taking kids to the movies, and just like the more I got into it, the more I wanted to do. The more kids I wanted to do, the more events I wanted to do, and then it just turned into that. It wasn't nothing that I had planned to the beginning. It's like if I can do 100, or I'll give you an example. I just took, I think, 150 kids to the movies through my nonprofit, and that started with me taking 50 kids. And then I was like, shit, let me try 100. Then I tried 100. I was like, shit, let me do 150. Then 150. So it's just like me once I got into it, it's like, damn, I want to do more and more and more with it. So that's just how it happened like that. But it really just started for me giving away stinks on Facebook. And then I just had to, I wanted to give away more. I wanted to do more with it. And I just had to get legit. And I had to get, all the proper paperwork. And then it just turned into, an organization.
I love that. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I know that feeling of when you give, and when you do something rewarding, you kind of want that feeling all the time. Like, I gave to a family 1 year. I contacted the county, and I was like, hey, I want to, like social services, and say, hey, I want to make sure that this gets to a family that needs it. And after that 1 year, I was like, I want to do this again, and I want to double it. I want to do another family. And then I made a promise to God. I said, every year that you increase, my finances, I'll make sure that I'll continue and keep giving to another family and another one. And because it feels good to give back. You know what I mean?
Definitely, it do. I really enjoy, like I said, when I was younger, more so it's a selfish thing for me, because when I was younger, nothing in the world was better than getting a new pair of sneaks and being able to take them out the box, smell them, all that. And I literally enjoy seeing other people with that feeling.
Yes.
So for me, it was like I want to see a kid's reaction. It was crazy. These fucking kids, man, they don't be excited about shit. They don't be excited about nothing. Right. So some of them do. The younger ones I've noticed are super excited. The more older ones, they a little too cool for school. But for me, I literally, I don't know if it's still on my page, but I remember, I never forget this little girl. I gave her a pair of sneakers, and she was so excited. Like, oh my God. And I was just like, I almost cried that day. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because it was just so dope to see someone react that way from something that I love as well. Like, I love getting a new pair of sneakers. So it was just really dope to see her react that way.
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. Okay. So if you could relive one moment in your career, which one would it be?
Getting booed in front of my girlfriend.
That's so specific. Why? Why that?
Because I got booed in front of my girlfriend. I want to be able to do that situation over again. Because I think
very interesting.
I want a second chance at that crowd. I want a second chance at that whole situation. I got booed in front of my girlfriend badly, and to this day, I hardly ever bring anybody to my shows because of that. Someone that I'm dating, I don't bring them. Nope, it's not gonna happen. Even though I know I'm not gonna get booed. I don't get booed anymore, but it's just like
it scarred you.
Yeah, because one of the things about me, I can go in front of 2,000 people that I don't know. But if I go in front of friends and family, I get nervous. If I go around my peers in comedy, I get nervous. But people I don't know, I can get up there and talk for hours and not feel an ounce of nervousness at all. But talking in front of like people I care about, nigga, different ball game. But to this day, I want to be able to go back. To this day, I would like to go back in time to that actual day and relive that moment again, so I can make that crowd go fucking crazy. I never forget that day.
Love it. That is so specific. That's funny. Well, I wish that you could do that too. But if only we could go back in the past and relive a.
And it wasn't even the fact that I got booed; it was the ride home that pissed me off. because like she didn't let me be mad. She wanted to be like, hey, are you okay? And I snapped. I was like, man, leave me alone. She's like, nigga, I ain't boo you. And then that hurt. That hurt. And she's over there trying to console me. And I'm like, hey, just let me be. And then she's like, nigga, I ain't the one who booed you. Don't get mad at me. Don't snap at me. That's why it really hurt right there.
She rubbed the wound a little bit.
She
rubbed
did.
it with.
She did.
I love it.
So
That's so funny. That's funny. All right, so a couple more questions. So, what advice would you give to aspiring comedians or anyone trying to turn their passion into a career?
Start. So many people question themselves. So many people push it to later dates. Start. Like you can't get started unless you actually start. So stop talking about what you want to do. Stop talking about, yeah, I'm inspired to be this. Do it. Just do it. And that's it. I swear to God, that's the best advice I can ever tell anybody when it comes to anything. Because there's so many people that I meet that talk about what they want to do. I'm thinking about doing this. Why are you thinking about it? Just fucking do it. Stop telling me what your plan is and do it. Regardless of what it is. Everybody, you're not going to be great at it in the beginning, but if you keep doing it, you're going to get good at some point. But the longer you prolong you even starting, it's prolonging you getting good at it. So stop worrying about if you're not good at something and just fucking start it. That annoys me so much that when I see someone and they tell me about what they want to do, and then I see them again and they're still talking about what they want to do, that shit annoys the fuck out of me. Just do the shit. Just start, bro. Woman, whoever it is. You want to start a business, you want to talk to a girl, you want to lose weight, whatever it is, start doing it. It's really that simple. And you something so simple, you would be amazed on how many people can't do that. It's an excuse for everything. I gotta work, or I got a job, I gotta do. So what? Start this shit. Stop making excuses. Oh, I gotta do this. No. Start it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So that's the most simple advice. And that's for anybody.
Yeah. That's the most simple advice, but it's so, it saves everything that needs to be. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not. No, I'm not going to say that. It is easy. It's easy to start something. The hard part is when it's not going your way, to keep going. Because you can start some shit. You can start. You can start a business today, and be up and running tomorrow. And then nobody comes by something, and then you're like, I'm done. No, you got to stay in that shit, bro. You have to stay in it. So yes, it's easy to start it, but it's not easy to stay in it when things are not going the right way.
All right. So how do you want people to remember the Lawrence Killebrew brand and what you've built? How do you want people to remember that?
That's a great question. There's different layers to it. Because on one end, I want to be remembered as someone who created something from passions that he loved. Like everything that I do or created, like Comedy Hustle, it basically comes from who I am and how I think people should go about life. Find something that you're passionate about and hustle your ass off to get it. I'm passionate about comedy, so I hustle my ass every fucking day to get to where I want to be at. So I really struggle with am I really a comedian or I'm someone who's passionate about something and found a way to do it? If that makes any sense. Because it's not like I said, I wasn't never a funny person in school, so it wasn't something that came naturally to me. It was something that I was infatuated with and learned how to do it to a high level. So for me, it's like I want people to remember me as someone who hustled his ass off every single day. I was never lazy. That's one thing somebody can never say about me is that I'm lazy. And you remember me as that, and I'm cool.
I love that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone who turned a penny into $1, into 1,000 to 1,000,000. I just kept moving.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, how do you define passion, and how has it shaped the person that you are today?
Passion is described by paying bills. That's where my passion came from. My passion came from I love what I do, and I want to get paid from it. And to continue getting paid from it, I got to hustle at it. So for me, it just came from a sense of I want to continue the lifestyle that I'm living, but I don't want to go backwards. So my passion for comedy is fueled by the fact that I want to continue living this lifestyle. I don't want to.
So I actually just had one more question. Were you finished with what you were saying? I think you were done.
What was I saying? What was I talking about?
You were talking about paying bills and not wanting to go back to
my passion. Like my passion for comedy comes from, one, like I said, my bills. I enjoy what I do, and I don't want to. I'm not necessarily. Not that having a boss is a bad thing. I just don't want to go back to someone dictating when I can go and come and what I do. Telling me I have to be somewhere sometime. At the end of the day, if I don't want to do a show, I don't have to do it. And I like that control over what it is that I do, having a choice on what it is I want to do and don't do. So my passion for comedy comes from that freedom of doing that and not want to give that up. Want to be able to continue doing that at the speed and time that I choose to do what it is I want to do. And, and everything like that.
I understand that. I definitely understand. Okay, so all right. So I actually have one more question for you. So what's next for you, and what can the people look out for? What you got happening?
The next thing is I have out 2 comedy albums right now. I want to put out a third and do it's a trilogy. I have a tendency to, I don't want to say copy, but when I see something that works, I want to try to do the same thing. So I got the idea from Jay-Z. You know how when he puts out an album, it's usually 3. I don't know if people really noticed that, but it was Jay-Z Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. Then it was Blueprint 1, 2, 3. Like, I want to kind of do that same type of format. So for me, I want to put out my third album, and then I want to put out like a visual special.
Nice.
It was like a collective of all 3 albums together. Like, I'm taking jokes from each part and put it all together and then give you a visual. That's my comedy goal for that. And then as for, other things as a businessman, I definitely want to turn my candles into something bigger. Recently I just signed a deal to have my candles sold in Target. So that was something that I was extremely proud about. So yeah, just taking that business to the next level to where I'm a household name with Bath and Body Works and, all those candle lines. Like, you're thinking, okay, let me go get a Comedy Hustle candle. I don't want Bath and Body Works and things like that. And as for my nonprofit, man, I really want to turn it into something bigger where, like, I'm having literally events based off of Killebrew Kicks. Like, we're doing, Community Day in Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York. We're doing all these things, and it's based solely for me wanting to give kids sneakers. So that's my goal for that right there. I want it to be like Nike has a camp. It's a Killebrew Kicks camp. I want that. That's what I want to come from what I'm doing right now.
So exciting. And I know that you will do all of that. And congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
That's huge.
It was a lot of work, but I'm in there. What's that lady with the seasonings? What's her with the smooth voice? What's her name? She sells she's
Talking about Tabitha Brown?
Yeah, I want to be Tabitha Brown. That right there. I want to walk in Target and see a big ass me right there in Target or some shit like that.
And I believe you can have it. That's so cool.
Because I never forget, I walked in Target and I saw her. I thought that was so cool to see someone like me have so much real estate in Target and people are going in there just for her. But that's actually, like I said, most of the ideas that I get or the ideas that I come up with come from me seeing someone doing it. So I saw Kev doing comedy. I saw it could be done. I saw friends of mine. I don't know. There's a guy named Charlie Mack from Philadelphia who put together like a weekend of events. And now I have my own birthday weekend where I do three days of events. I do a comedy show. I do a celebrity basketball game, and I do like something that's geared to whatever business I'm into at that point. So when me seeing someone do something, I'm like, damn, I can do that shit too. So when I saw her whole display, I was like, shit, let me go to Target and see if I can get my candles in there. And it turned out I was able to get them in there. So
that's amazing. I love that. So what do you have? What dates or any dates you have that may be in the month of February or after?
Okay, so let me see. Next week I'm in Miami. The following weekend I'm in Pleasanton, California. The following week after that, damn, I don't even know my schedule. Shit.
It's okay, you know. Hey, look, when you booked and busy and you got a lot going on, it be like that.
I got it now. I got it. Okay, I know it now. So next week I'm in Miami. That's the 23rd through the 24th. The following weekend, I'm in Pleasanton, California at Tommy T's. Then after that, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at the ATL Comedy Theater. Then after that, I go home to Philadelphia and I'm doing the Punchline Comedy Club. So that's my schedule is 4 weeks in February. There you go, right there. So if anybody is in Philadelphia, Atlanta, or Pleasanton, well, basically it's Oakland, to be honest with you. It's Oakland. If anybody's in Oakland, if anybody's in Philadelphia, if anybody's in Atlanta is going to see this, hit me up. I got you.
Nice. So amazing. Thank you so much. This was so good. It was a pleasure talking to you.
And pleasure talking to you as well.